Welcome to the story of Jesus Blesses the Children. This story is from Mark chapter 10, verses 13 through 16. The lesson focus for grades 3 and 4 is, Kids Can Model Faith for Others. It may seem surprising that the disciples tried to keep children away from Jesus, but in biblical times, children had little or no status. When Jesus called the children to him, he was breaking tradition and going against customs of the time. But he was raising their status to a new, amazing level. Children play a significant role in Mark's gospel. Mark's stories about Jesus' encounters with children always lead to grace. When Jesus invites us to love God like a child, he is inviting us to simply let go of the illusion that we are the ones who can control our lives. Instead, we are called to confidently receive and believe in the love that Jesus gives. The disciples in this story were mistakenly trying to control access to Jesus. However, Jesus shows us that the kingdom of God will not come by our control. We cannot control who has access to the kingdom. The kingdom comes purely by Jesus Christ's welcome. It is important to remember that the faith of children is not always simple. Kids can ask profound questions about faith that adults sometimes shy away from. The message here is that even in honest questions, we are still loved. In this story, Jesus wants us to know that there are things in our lives that we can trust. One of these things is the knowledge that we are loved as children of God. Jesus emphasizes the children in this story because they so confidently trust this love from God. Jesus wants us all to have this childlike confidence so that it can carry us, even when our lives are weighed down by grown-up complications. Jesus teaches us in this story that kids can model faith for others. You can encourage kids to share Jesus' message of love with others and remind them that even grown-ups can learn a lot from how kids model faith. Jesus wants kids to model faith for others. It is through receiving the kingdom of God as a child that we are able to enter it. Keep this in mind as you work with your 3rd and 4th graders. Some kids this age enjoy taking leadership roles in class. Try inviting kids to lead a section of class. Match ability with requests when possible. For example, more artsy kids can direct the art activities on the 3rd page of the leaflets. Some kids in your class may be regularly dropped off for Sunday school without their parents being involved in Christian education. Encourage kids to talk with their families about what they learned and what they like about attending Sunday school. This is a great way that kids can model faith to some people closest to them. During the arrival activity, remind kids to utilize their acting abilities if they receive the secret handshake. For instance, they could wait a few moments before subtly starting an action while staring at another person. Whether this game lasts just a few minutes or you play several rounds, this is a great way to start the opening conversation about kids as leaders. After you read this story from the Spark Bible, make sure you talk about the word indignant. Point out that when Jesus got indignant, it meant that he was mad. If kids are surprised about Jesus' anger, talk about how anger can work for good when it is directed toward injustices. Jesus was mad at the injustice of those who wanted to prevent children from approaching him. With his anger, Jesus turned traditions and customs about kids upside down. If you have extra time during the blessing relay, invite kids to create more kid descriptions and then create the corresponding blessings. This may be a great way to affirm the gift of humor in some of your kids. This story reminds us that grown-ups can learn a lot from the faith of children. Jesus wants kids to model faith for others, and you may be surprised at how they model their faith to you.